Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of breaking updates today. So first, we're going to go into the Moscow-Syrian meeting. So the Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Assad, the President of Syria, and Moscow has nudged the Syrian leader towards meetings with the Turkish President Erdogan. So Erdogan, the Turkish President of Turkey, wants friendlier relations between Syria, and it seems that Putin's going to do this for the two countries. So there's even been rumors that Putin will host the two nations' leaders, so Assad and Erdogan, in Russia. So this is rumored to happen in August. Damascus, Syria, seeks the Kremlin's help in restraining Israel, though. So this was a statement stated by Assad. So he wants, obviously, as I just said, he wants Russian support in Syria to help to restrain Israel. So very interesting statements coming from Moscow. And that's not the only thing coming from Moscow. So if we talked about yesterday was a car bombing that happened in Moscow, which actually led to the bombing of a high Russian official. I think it was a communication officials that was actually working in the northern district in Ukraine. So this man, the man who did this, flees to Turkey, where he was actually arrested in Turkey, and now he's actually been sent back to Russia in Moscow. So the FSB has reported that the SBU offered this man, this Russian man who blew up this car of the high Russian official, was apparently offered a Ukrainian citizenship and $10,000 to $20,000. So this was reported by the Russian agency of the FSB. So this could, I don't know if this is true or not. So very interesting nonetheless. Putin has met Leshchenko, the president of Belarus, in this island near the Finnish border here. So if you can see here, the two leaders met, and the first thing they did was went to church. If you can see here, they went to church. Let's see, they're praying. So they went to like an Orthodox church. So later on, maybe in tomorrow's episode, we will find out what they've discussed about and what statements or treaties that will come out of this. Now I really want to quickly go over the Chinese and Russian bombers that went over Alaska. Not over Alaska, but the news what came out yesterday about the four Chinese and Russian bombers. So we've got news that again, I'll just go over it if people didn't hear it. So there was 4 bombers in total. There was 2 Russian bombers and 2 Chinese bombers that went through this grey zone here. So they did operations near Alaska. So this marks the first time actually Chinese H-6 bombers have actually operated in this region. The aircraft were detected and tracked and intercepted by US and Canadian fighters. The bombers actually remained in the international airspace and did not enter sovereign US or Canadian airspace. So they didn't go into American or Canadian airspace. So but these bombers did get intercepted. So very interesting. I just wanted to touch over that. So the next news coming today is again coming from Moscow. Indonesia is to purchase Russian oil despite Western sanctions. So we'll get more news about this tomorrow. But the news that I'm getting right now is Indonesia has is going to purchase Russian oil despite Western sanctions. We got news coming from the front in Ukraine that more robotic equipment is finding its way in the Donbass region in the front of Ukraine. So if you can see here, these little robots and stuff, and more importantly, these drone jammers. So these seems to be like these massive drone jammers that can actually bring down drones over 250 meters away. So huge package which will be going to the Russian army. So very interesting that this new equipment is heading to the front. The biggest news coming today is coming from Israel. So the Israeli Air Force commander says that Israel is ready. Said preparations for a possible war against Hezbollah in Lebanon has been completed. So all preparations for the intervention force going into Lebanon is apparently ready, according to the Israeli Air Force commander. So we're just probably waiting on the Prime Minister of Netanyahu, his decision to approve this order to do this intervention force into Lebanon. But if this does happen, we need to look at the sparks and the chain reaction this will bring. This will obviously bring Iran into the conflict, or maybe a bystander who will supply tons of Iranian weapons to the to Hezbollah. So Iran might join this, the Houthis will join. So let's hope this doesn't happen, but right now war is on the horizon. It is apparently everything is ready to go. And a delegation from the Israeli Ministry of Defense arrived in India for an important visit. So this discussion will talk about the increasing security cooperation in various fields. So very interesting. We also got news that joint American and British strikes have happened in this city here. I'm yet to have any footage of this, but right now Houthi medias are reporting that a joint American-British airstrikes have happened in this city. It's unsure at this very moment that if it even hit anything or what it even hit in the first place, but we'll probably see in tomorrow's video. Very interesting news coming from the Black Sea. So, a jet ski loaded with a huge batch of dynamite and explosives were found in the beach of Istanbul. It is believed that it belonged to the Ukrainian Navy, according to the Turkish news agency IHA. So, if you can see here in this video, it's a jet ski with a huge amount of explosives on it. So, there's probably no doubt this is a Ukrainian jet. So these are the jet skis that go into Russian ships and they completely blow them up. So it seems that it must have a Russian jammer must have gotten it, or maybe it just went out of reception. I don't know, and it landed apparently in the Istanbul beach. We got news coming from the Polish statements. So Poland has reportedly just passed France, and now is the third in the list of NATO states with the most military personnel. So only the US and Turkey are ahead. So I'll just go through it really quickly. The US is ahead with 1.3 million, then Turkey 481,000 people. Then it goes now Poland 216k, now France in 4th place with 204k. So Poland has just passed France. We also got other news that Poland has handed over the 45th package of military aid to Ukraine. So this is only reports right now, but at the time of this video, it has not officially been announced by the Polish government. But details of this package have not been released yet, but it is known that this package contains a significant amount of ammunition and the transfer of 10 MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. So a huge package when if this gets approved, or when. So a huge package. So it's this package is estimated in a total estimated at $4 billion US. So we'll see if this gets approved. But some approved military transfers have been approved. So Spain has announced the transfer of the Hawk air defense systems to Ukraine. So the Hawk is American medium-range surface-to-air missile, if you can see here in your pictures in your bottom left corner. So a couple of these have been announced and is up for delivery and is scheduled for Ukraine in September this year. We got news coming from the Czech president. The Czech president stated that Ukrainian peace negotiations are meaningless without Russia and China. That was stated by the Czech president. We got news coming from Germany that the German Chancellor Scholz, Germany will not stop arms exports to Israel. This was stated by the German Chancellor, and the German Chancellor also stated that to prevent the deployment of American Tomahawk missiles in Germany, Russia must first cease its war against Ukraine. So Russia's seen this American missiles heading to Germany as a huge threat to Russia, and actually has threatened Germany with it. So Scholz is saying, if you don't want them to arrive in America, then you first have to end the war in Ukraine. We've got some news coming from Ukraine that Europe will face, this is according to the ex-Austrian foreign minister, she stated that Europe will face an aftermath of the uncontrolled weapons market, the ex-Austrian foreign minister stated. She stated again that Europe will have to face the aftermath of an uncontrolled weapons market in Eastern and Central Europe. So she told this to the UN Security Council members during a meeting on Ukraine. In addition, she added that the consequences will be much tougher than during the war in Yugoslavia. So she's stating that after this war, there'll be a huge weapons market that will go over Europe, Central Europe and Eastern Europe, that will potentially harm citizens. We've got news in Germany, well, not in Germany, in Belarus. So a German man was sentenced to death in Belarus who worked for the Ukrainian Special Forces. So this German citizen, Rico, who was sentenced to death for terrorism in Belarus, he stated that he acted on the behalf of the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU. During his negotiations, he admitted that he had photographed Iskander launchers and coordinates of which he had received from the SBU. So the very interesting, obviously, if you can see here in the bottom left corner, you can clearly see he's been through a rough time. So he'll be sentenced to death on terrorism. So we'll see what happens here. We've got news coming from Kamala Harris. So if we can look at here. So Kamala Harris has announced that she is ready to debate with Trump on September the 10th. So very interesting, and I'll keep you updated on her. We've also got one more video, it's only a minute long, how Donald Trump explains his phone call with Zelensky, if you guys remember. So he kind of opens up of what he said. So just give it a watch.
President Zelensky called me, and we had a good talk. And I said, we got to get this war over. This is a war machine. You're facing a war machine. That's what they do, is they fight wars. They beat Hitler. They beat Napoleon. They're fighting a war. And the spring offensive never happened. And I hear they had millions of mines put down, and they had thousands of army tanks, meaning the Russians. And I said, we've got to get this war over with. A lot of Russians being killed, but a lot of Ukrainians being killed. It's a whole mess. Should have never happened. Biden should have never allowed this to happen. This was an easy stop. This was zero chance of happening. And President Putin would have never done it. Never, ever. Two reasons. Number one, the oil prices were low. I kept them low. I kept gasoline low. I kept oil low. And as soon as these guys came in, the oil went to almost $100 a barrel, which is double what it should be. And all of a sudden, he's got tremendous amounts of money that he didn't have. I think one of the reasons Putin went in is because when he saw Afghanistan, the way we got out, when people saw that, like Putin, like President Xi of China, strong guy, strong man.
Big statements from Donald Trump in this phone call. He first stated that I told Zelensky that we must end this war. He also stated that Ukraine is facing a military machine, a war machine that defeated Hitler and Napoleon, and the spring offensive of the armed forces of Ukraine never took place too. So very interesting reports coming from Donald Trump. So I'll make sure to keep you updated on him. United States Vice President Kamala Harris assured the Prime Minister Netanyahu of my full support for the state of Israel and its right to defend itself. That was stated by Kamala Harris. She also stated that the United States Vice President Kamala Harris stated that she expresses the Israeli Prime Minister my deep concerns about the extent of human suffering in Gaza. Netanyahu also visited Elon Musk, where they both talked about technological cooperations with Israel. And we've got news that the Chinese and Russian negotiations in Laos on the sidelines of the ASEAN events have happened. So if you can see in your bottom left corner, some Chinese-Russian meetings. And we've got some news that France is experiencing a huge traffic disruptions on the Olympics opening day, what will apparently affect estimated up to 800,000 passengers, at the head of the National Railway Operators stated. So that's all I have for you today. I am Noncy News. I will try and provide you the news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider giving me a like and subscribe. And if you want to help me personally, consider becoming a member or donating through YouTube. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I see you again later. Bye.